and I didn't notice it when I first watched it, but when I go back and look at it, a lot of the villains in Naruto are Naruto. Like a lot of
Yeah,
the villains just
you
are
didn't know that?
Naruto. That's their story.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it?
I didn't
You just
realize
now
that
picked
when
that
I
up?
first watched it. Yeah, because when I first watched it when I was a kid and stuff, I didn't really think about it. But going looking at it now, it's like I realize a lot of the villains are just Naruto. Their stories, I'm Naruto, but I turned bad, and it's like, wow, Naruto didn't turn bad, and Naruto's like, see, I'm you, and I didn't turn bad, so you didn't turn bad, you turned back good now, and they're like, yeah, and they turn back good and
My
die.
thing is,
I mean,
like, I didn't mind that so much. My thing is, if your biggest ability was to be able to talk, which let's be honest, that's his biggest ability, was to be able to talk a villain,
So we're watching
and
Steven Universe.
it was to be, yeah, essentially, into believing your way of the ninja and everything, and blah 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 blah, believing into seeing things your way. Why is it that the biggest villain of all came and you just said, "No, we gotta dust her ass"?
But first, let me do a sexy.
Look,
oh,
it's
that
like
was so
it.
dumb.
There was no, hey, what are your motives? Hey, why are you doing this? Let me try to understand. It's like, nah, she's evil. Dust her ass. It's like
And I
you
think
straight up had
Devil's
a
advocate
conversation.
for Kaguya, she immediately started kicking their asses when she showed up.
To be fair, she just came back.
yeah, but Madara also single-handedly blew out an entire army with taijutsu, so
She also
Yeah,
exploded from Madara's gut.
yeah, it was weird. And speaking of anime and endings and part and scale and all that, this is not part scaling, but it's more of a character development thing. I noticed the same, and maybe this is just a thing of rushed endings. I don't know, but here's something I noticed between Naruto and Bleach as well, and it's probably largely because of the cast of characters. Look at the ending of Bleach and the ending of Naruto, and it's like they always have to have that moment where there are a bunch of they just very obviously shove a bunch of characters together into pairings to say, look, they got paired up, it's official, so that they can have
well,
kids in the future
there
for a
were
second
definitely
series.
some. Yeah, there was. Yeah, I understand that. There were some that I knew were probably going to be a
Yeah, well,
thing,
like
and then they
Tamari
just.
and Shikamaru, I feel like
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
well
we knew
developed.
that.
But
We
then you
knew
have a
that.
bunch of weird stuff where it's like it's very obvious that like look at this panel of the manga where there's 18 couples and then like
It's like
it's
Eno and
whack.
Sai. I'm like, it's Eno and Sai. I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I'm not even
I'm
gonna.
like
Choji and
I can't
that
even say.
random girl from the
yeah,
Lightning
what are you
Yeah,
Village.
talking
that
about?
one made
That's
no sense.
stupid.
Like
Ino
Bleach
and
just came out of
Sai,
left field.
bro. I don't care
Fan
about that.
service, man.
Shikamaru and Tamari
Yeah, that was
makes
That was
sense.
built,
I,
at least.
that was
Yeah,
that was so built in. It was
and
ridiculous.
listen, I get that they don't have time to develop every
This is a
romance the
shonen. They
same
don't
way,
want to watch the
but
romance.
Right.
at the same time, does that mean you have to have a panel where there's like 9 couples because of fans? It kills me. Like I think Bleach did it worse, but I think it's because I think Bleach had
Look here.
an
Look here. I'm
irredeemably
sorry.
terrible ending.
I'm sorry. There is nothing about Bleach where Ichigo should have ended up with Orihime.
Thank you,
I'm
thank you,
sorry.
thank
That
you.
like I read that. I'm like, I'm sorry. What?
That
What
ending was
And
about
whack
this
be
series? What about this series has him not ending up with Rukia? And but this makes
Because
no
Bleach's
sense.
ending is whack. It's terrible. They didn't even
It's
finish their
so
stuff
bad.
up.
Bleach is
Okay,
rushed as hell
okay,
in a lot of ways.
this isn't a
Look,
spoiler. This is not a spoiler because it didn't get resolved. That's the good thing about Bleach. The good thing about Bleach's ending being terrible is that you can literally discuss the ending and not spoil people. Why? Because they didn't even make the ending. Like there's a point where it's very unclear whether or not Urahara and Yoroichi are dead or not, and they never talk about it ever again. And
There's a
you want to
point
know
where
how they
random
confirm,
characters that
and
should
you
be
want to,
dead come out of
and you
nowhere.
want, and you want to know how they confirmed that they did not die is in, those like Bleach anniversary little projects and stuff he puts out. He put
mhm.
out like a joke panel, and in that joke panel, it confirms that they're alive because they just show up for like a one panel joke, like a funny snippet of dialogue.
Look, man.
That's
I
how
don't
he
care.
confirmed it.
I don't
Like you
care.
can't tell me you can't, because like could you imagine? Okay, imagine this, dude. Imagine if like at the end of imagine if at the end of Star Wars Episode 6 is a part where it's like Han Solo and Chewbacca are in the Millennium Falcon and it's about to explode, and then it cuts away, and they just never bring it up again. And then, like in the holiday special, they show back up, and that's the confirmation that they're alive. That's basically what Bleach did. That's what
When
Bleach
did
did.
the Christmas special originally happen? Was
I
it?
don't
Let's not talk
remember
about
when.
that.
Let's not talk about the holiday special, but I'm just saying that's my
I'm
analogy.
wondering
Like,
if is it after episode 7?
Mark, shut up.
no, it was way before.
No, I meant after 6. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Here's my biggest like I said, I read a lot of Bleach. The only time I stopped
Ditto.
was like at the very end. I stopped at the very end
Yeah,
and just
I
didn't pick
kept
it up.
going.
I
I
think I
look,
think Bleach
I
heavily suffered from the power thing as well, because not even because just the scale,
no
because
no
it
no
does get
no no.
crazy at the
I have
last
my own
arc.
point to make. It's not even about power levels. We all know
Oh,
power levels is
okay.
bullshit.
All
It's
right, I want to hear
look,
it.
I've sat through a lot. I've sat um through freaking Captain Unohana turning out to be a badass and then immediately dying, which was
And
heart
that was
wrenching.
pointless.
That was pointless.
It
I've
was
sat
It
through
was
a
cool,
lot.
but it was pointless.
Yeah, I
The
sat
point
through
was to
Grimjaw
awaken
versus.
someone else.
Okay, I get that, but it felt like
Yeah, it
it
felt
felt
like
like a
a
waste of
waste of
potential.
someone who could have been there to fight.
You know what's a waste of characters? The 4 ultimate powerful people that guard the king don't show up after the king
Oh
goes
my
away.
god, bro. What were
I'm
you
not
saying
done.
though, Aaron? Yeah, what was your
Okay, so I've sat through that. Like I'm not saying these are bad
okay?
things. I'm just saying these are things I've watched through. I've
Uh
seen
huh.
that. I saw the whole shit with Urukiora go down. This whole shit with Rimjaw, Aizen, going back, all the way back. There is no point in that series that is a defining moment of Ichigo going, nah, I should marry Orihime.
I mean, there's the bit where he's fighting Grimjaw and she gets all emotional.
Yeah, but they already
That
had
was
that with
her
Rukia,
though. That was
bro.
her
Hey,
though.
hey,
That
here's my
wasn't.
issue. Here's my issue. It's one thing. It's one thing if they just had that, but bro, you
What
can't
about
tell that
the
they built.
Ukiura fight where he
That's what I'm
turns
saying. You
into
can't.
a
Okay,
Spada?
but that's all later, bro. They built Rukia for so long,
They
and
built
then
that up like
Orihime came out
that
of
was.
nowhere.
Yeah, that wasn't. It
I'm gonna
wasn't
be
just like.
honest. I always thought that his non-superpowered human friend was gonna be the love interest because she
She's better
emotes to
than
him more.
Orihime.
Oh yeah,
She's better
Totsky.
than
That would have
Orihime.
been. That would.
That would
That
have
would
made
have been a
sense.
better.
Hey,
That would have
you know
made
who
sense
Tatsuki always
because she was
reminds me
always
of?
there to kick it.
Tatsuki reminds me of Makoto from Street Fighter.
She does. She is.
She does.
So I
They
always
gave her
thought
a
that
long hair.
Otohime was gonna get with Grimjow anyway. So
Look, because it would have made more sense for Ichigo to end up
It
with
would have made more
Tatsuki
sense.
because Tatsuki always seemed to like it. Always seemed like she was around at his lowest.
Can I
That would
say
have made
Rel,
this?
sense.
don't you know? This is
Can I
anime. The
say
childhood
this?
friend never wins.
Maybe I'm biased. Can I say this? I don't dislike her, but I really never liked Orihime.
I can't hear you because someone's sprinkling shit.
Oh, I said I want to say this because maybe this explains my bias against that, but I'm not gonna say I dislike her, but I never really liked Orihime as a character.
That's fair. I
Otohime
didn't
is the
either.
only one that's power didn't scale. Even Chad
Yeah.
got a power boost.
I mean, her
Yeah.
power is interesting, but I just never liked her as a
Yeah.
character.
Here's the problem with her power. Her
Rukia,
power
Rukia
literally.
was. Hey, let me tell you this. I already liked Rukia from the start, but even though it was kind of bogus how she beat that one Espada, when Rukia came back with her Zanpakuto, I was like, all right, Rukia's tight.
Here's my
Or
problem with
Hime, on the
Orihime.
other hand, I never liked the character.
Here's my problem with Orihime. Orihime never had a moment where her powers mattered. Because her whole thing was her powers could be strong. She could literally straight up heal wounds
She
like
could.
that
She
should not have
didn't
healed.
She
heal
could
wounds.
reverse. She could reverse
time.
damage,
Yeah, she
which is
reversed time.
insane.
She could reflect. She could essentially, what was it? Stop time to reflect stuff. She could do all this stuff. But she was always a weak-willed character. It was literally because she was so weak-willed, her powers didn't mean anything.
Yeah, and she just. I feel like
do
she
you see
wasn't
how
that
the
good as a
power to
character.
literally split anything in half?
Yes.
Yeah, she started using her
It's
shield
like
for
the
that,
most
didn't she?
OP power in the game. Like, oh,
And
you're
she's
fucking with
still
me? I split you in half. Now
and
you're
she's
dead.
still the most useless
Hey,
character in freaking
let me tell you something.
I
Bleach.
chalk that up to. I forget the author's name, but he has a bad habit of adding characters and
Kishimoto,
forgetting other
wasn't
ones.
that Kishimoto?
Like
You're talking
when
about
you
what's his name?
You mean like
Tite
launch?
Kubo.
No, it's
'Cause
similar. Except
no,
he doesn't
because
try to
here's the
bullshit
thing. Here's
justify
the
it.
thing. He didn't forget about her. He just realized this. Even he realized this character is there's
Yeah,
no
I
redeemable
just
part of this
don't like.
character.
I really didn't like her
Every
personality. I didn't
freaking
like her
character
development.
that they add in the fuck, what's the Hollow world called again? Gueco Mundo.
Wakamundo, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
just
Gueco
that's
Mundo.
the yeah.
No,
Every good high tier enemy that they get on their side doesn't exist in the last arc because it's assumed they're
Do
killed
you
off
remember?
screen.
Do you remember that
wait,
dude
did
that
Nell
lives in
not
the
come
hall?
back?
Hey,
None of
I don't
them.
think so.
None. Who?
The only one that comes back is Grimjow, and his fate, along with Yoriichi and Urahara, are left unconfirmed.
So Nell never came back.
Mel never came back. It's implied that the
Hands
Quincy's made a
down, my
purge.
favorite character.
Do you guys remember that dude that's living in the Hollow Forest in Waco Mundo? Do you remember him? The guy that he's a Soul Reaper and he wears the Hollow mask and he lives in the
Vaguely.
woods and just fights Minos
What the
Gnarly all the time.
fuck are you tie on?
Do you remember that?
Was
There's a part where
Vaguely.
there's a part where Rukia, I think it is stuck in in Waco Mundo. There's like a hollow forest, and there's a Soul Reaper that is stuck there, and he's been stuck there for like 200 years or something.
is it the
And
one
he
that's
just,
pretending to be her lost mentor?
so I don't remember. It might be it.
Because that
But
turned out to be fake.
yeah, I don't remember if that was a
That
real
was a boss
character or
fight.
not. Yeah, but
I think I remember what you're talking about. That was one of
yeah,
the
but
Espada. Is that what they were called?
yeah, the Espada are the hollows that gain Soul Reaper powers, and the
Yeah,
Vazra
My
are
that
the other
thing
one
one.
of them
is,
had the ability to turn into other people. So I think
Hey,
that was
here's
him.
all I'm
my
saying.
thing
You
is,
cannot. Hey, okay, so you mentioned about Orihime, right before you get on your next point, because I have to agree with you on this point. And right, you mentioned what you said about Orihime and her character development, right?
You mean the lack
Compare,
thereof?
yeah, compare Orihime's character development. Okay,
Every human character has the
to
same level of development, and it's nothing.
I don't agree because I was gonna say
Outside of the
compare her
one scene
development to
Chad gets,
Uryu.
I don't think of one.
Compare her development to Uryu, and tell me that Orihime is on the same level as Uryu as far as.
Uryu actually has
Remember when he
plot.
fights what's his face? The scientist.
Kurosuke
Oh,
Mayuri.
that
Yeah.
asshole.
Remember that fight?
That fight was good because it had plot and story.
Look, Chad had the most like character development in that show, so
The
you can
first
fucking
season.
fight me.
Well, I'll put it this way. I'd say what you will about
And
Chad,
Chad had
but
no fucking personality.
Exactly.
He
How does
was
that
the
make you
gentle
feel?
giant, and we
I'll
love
put
him
it this
anyway.
way. Chad did fight Shunsui. So,
Yeah.
what were you saying though, Aaron? What were you
No, I
gonna?
was gonna say,
Or,
like, cause he said
Ram?
his favorite character was Nell. Mine is Soy Fun. Like, she had an amazing amount
Swiftfun
of.
was tight. Her Bankai was weird though,
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. It was hilarious to me because I was like,
but
man,
it was
if
funny
her
because
if
it
her
makes sense. It
like
makes sense
because
though.
I
'Cause
was
she
If
don't
It
want
she
to do
matches
that.
her
lands an
personality
attack, she
perfectly.
wins though.
Yeah.
stop. I was gonna say that was that my whole phone was man, how are they gonna beat the fact that she has to, that it only takes 2 hits to kill her opponent? Bazooka. Oh, that
Hey,
makes
One
sense.
hit to
yeah,
kill an
and I
opponent.
wouldn't say that he's my favorite character because probably Urahara is my favorite character. I would say, but how you cut out? I would say Urahara might be my favorite character. It's really hard for me to pick a favorite character in Bleach, but I'll
Yeah,
tell you somebody
I
that
will say
became
this.
one of my favorites very quickly as soon as he showed up was Shinji.
Oh
Shinji,
yeah,
yes.
Shinji.
he was
I'll
built
tell
to
you,
be.
Shinji had a
I tell
strong
you,
introduction against
I don't
Grimjow.
care what you say. Urahara's most but badass moment was when we found out he was a freaking Soul Reaper. He's just like scream Benahim. It's like what? And he
Yeah,
just
hey,
started beat.
Wait,
what's his face lost his arm.
Yeah.
who?
And I feel his Zanpakuto is my favorite Zanpakuto because it sounds awesome.
Who is the
It
person?
sounds so cool.
I'm trying to remember characters.
Who is it? Who are you?
What are you talking about, Kenji?
Who is he talking about? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I'm talking about. I'm asking the name of the guy that you were talking about, Aaron. That was the guy who
I was
turned
talking
out to
about
be.
Urahara. Like when Ichigo was like training, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh hey, he's like, I can beat this guy. He's just a normal. And all of a sudden, it turns out Urahara's a hey, Urahara's a freaking Soul Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
I forget that moment happened.
Yeah, he's like Urahara literally tells him to fight him, and Ichigo's like, I guess this is gonna be easy, and all of a sudden Urahara goes scream, and
Oh,
Hime's
when
like,
he
I'm
does
sorry,
when he's
what?
training him to get his powers
Yeah,
back.
I will say one of my other favorite characters was what was his name? The dude who had the spear, uh,
The one
Oh,
with
Ikigai,
the hidden
the bald one,
Bankai.
the
Ikaku,
bald one. Yeah,
Ikaku,
The
yeah,
one
that
Ikaku.
was
Yeah,
that dude was my favorite.
he was
Like,
awesome.
the one who that one guy's sister fell in love with when they hid in the human world.
yeah, oh yeah. I just love. So wait a minute, did Yachiru die?
Yachiru, it's really weird. It's implied that she was his Zanpakuto.
Wait, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
the
I'm
the,
sorry.
the pink haired girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's his
She was.
Zanpakuto.
That is
Yeah.
the dumbest thing.
To be
I
There.
fair,
thought that was his daughter.
nope.
No, it's
That's just
implied that
that
she's
is
like
for
his
some
Zanpakuto
reason.
because
Wait,
there's a
stop,
part in the
stop,
last arc where he like there's a part in the last arc where he has a development with his Zanpakuto, and after that happens, she disappears
stop.
and
Do
she
you know
never
what that
comes back.
means? Do you know what that means?
That
What?
means his
That means
Zanpakuto summoned his Zanpakuto. Yes.
no, no, no. That means that the bounce arc was real.
What?
That means that the bounce arc in the anime where everyone's Zanpakuto turned against them was real.
I mean, I have nothing against that. It was
I
funny.
don't either. It's
Bro,
just it was a
but
whole filler
do
arc.
you understand the implications that his son Bartol was manifested the entire time while
You
everybody
know
else
how
can only manifest theirs for a little bit of time?
you know how strong that means he had to be.
That's what
And
I'm
yet his
saying.
Yes.
Bankai is a cleaver.
Yeah, and it turns him red. It's like it's weird. That's what I'm
Toshinori's
talking.
was that's not the character's
I
name.
was gonna
That's
say.
All Might.
I was about to say that's All Might, buddy. You're talking about
Who's
Kingmaker
the
Punch.
who's the blue haired kid?
Yeah, I wanted. I
Oh,
remember when.
Toshiro.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was awesome. I remember
Toshiro Hisugaya.
that part when he was about to lose the fight and All Might used he went his Bankai. I remember that. That was
shut up.
sick.
In the last arc, we finally get to see what happens when his final stupid frozen feather goes away. It's like we always thought his power was too strong and thus it would run out. I was like, no, I just become stupid powerful. That was my restraint. What
Doesn't
the
he turn into
fuck
an
are you
adult?
talking about?
Wait, didn't he turn into like an adult when he used it? Like he grew up when he used it.
Yeah,
Here's
he
my
turned into like a 30 something. He turned into like a 20 something adult with more power than God in ice.
my thing
Yeah.
is
Why did you hold that back?
my thing is this would have been the perfect time to have the Iran cars come back. Let's be
It
real.
would have been. It would have been perfect.
Tia Bell didn't die. Not Tia Bell. Harabell didn't die.
I thought she
Tia Harabell
did.
didn't die.
Didn't Hitsuga
Orochimaru,
kill Halle Bell?
huh?
Didn't Hitsuga kill her?
No, she was alive because she was.
Bruh.
Remember, she was being tortured. That's why they went to, before the whole
Yeah,
I
it's
can't remember what they call themselves,
yeah.
but
She lives. She goes back to Waco Mundo.
yeah, essentially when they were torturing her. That's what happened when like Ichigo went there, and that was the beginning of the freaking Nazi Quincy arc.
You know who has more character development than Orihime? That one Soul Reaper girl, that
Dude.
with the drunk guy, with the one of the captains who.
Oh, you
With
mean
the,
Isane's sister?
Oh yeah.
who?
Dude, you know who has dude, Kon has more in it.
No,
Development. The
no,
development than Orihime.
it's the girl.
The
It's one of
pig.
it's the black
Oh,
haired
it's the
guy with the
yeah. I know what
twin
you're talking about.
swords.
It's the yeah the really straight laced woman.
Yeah, and it turns out, oh, I'm just this second sword I use. It's actually your sword. What? That's not how that works. You shouldn't be able to use that.
Yeah, the rules get super weird.
My thing is, it's weird to me. Like Orihime is somehow ended up with the main character,
Here, I
but she
found the
had the
panel.
least amount of development than any character in Bleach.
I found the panel that Mark was talking about of Hitsuga. Hang on.
What?
Tell me why Kisuke has no like real development and he trains everybody.
I know.
He's because he did have development.
Here, this is
It was
what
found out
Mark
that
was talking about. This is Hitsuga's final form.
What the fuck are you? Oh yeah, that's a. Yep. He just grows up to be a pretty boy.
It's like your daughter calls me daddy too.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I guess the joke is that his power would force him to age, which doesn't make sense because he's dead already. Everyone in the Soul Society is dead.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
I'm
But
a
they also,
spirit, motherfucker.
yeah, they're also
And
so
what
weak that
is
they literally have eternity to develop their powers unless they die again.
Yeah, but they shouldn't age like that.
Well, at the same point, he's like older than Rangiku, so
Which I find, when I found that out, to be hilarious. Especially with the way she always acts on him.
yeah.
That puts the entire comedy between the two of them in a whole new light.
They still did my boy Ging dirty.
Hey, listen.
None of the
They
freaking full-bring humans are brought up again either, even the ones that keep their powers.
look, they did. I don't care what you say. They did Ging dirty. Why do you have to die?
Which one's Geen again?
Geen was the
It
guy
was
that
the
always had his eyes closed.
Yeah, he was the dude who was supposed
Hey,
to be a
you
traitor,
want to
but
know
he
what
only
they did
betrayed them
was?
to try to kill Aizen.
You want to know what kills me to this day about Bleach?
That is a really tight character.
You remember Shinji's Bankai that reverses your direction and stuff?
Yeah.
Bro, why did he explain that to Aizen? If he wouldn't have explained it to Aizen, he would have beat Aizen right there. He would have beat him. But he explains it to
You-
Aizen. Aizen is like, oh, that's how it works. You reverse my sense of direction. Okay, in that case, I'll fight in reverse direction and wins. Like, if he
All he
wouldn't have
has to do is
explained,
say his Zanpakuto's name slightly different. It'll change powers and shape. Apparently, that's a
that's what I'm
rule.
saying. Like, dude, Shinji, if you had not explained your Bankai to Aizen, you literally would have won that fight. Why would you do that? Why would they make him do that? That kills me.
I mean, I
Because that's
like
such a
Gen's
powerful
Bankai way
ability.
more than Shinji's though.
Did Ging ever show his Bankai?
I
His sword
forget.
extends
That's
extremely
his
far.
Sheikah, right?
I,
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Shikai.
I think he's killed before he can
Dang,
get it
dang.
off. I don't remember.
Does Geen
Yeah,
have
because he tried to kill Aizen once he got his full power, and then he
No,
died.
he might hold up. He might have showed his Bankai. Let me see. Let me look it up.
Can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen Bleach.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to find the
But
Bankai.
here's the insinuation. The reason I was mad that Ging died and didn't come back. Ging
Yeah,
was
it
literally as
is.
powerful as Hitsugaya. He literally riled Hitsugaya up and was beating his ass.
Hey, I found it. He did show his Bankai. He did show his Bankai. Okay, it was that. Basically, he cut like an entire town in half with it at once. He can extend his cutting power and stuff, but it doesn't actually change the form.
Oh, so
Right,
you
because
don't
he's
see
So
the
how
here's his thing, right?
fastest now.
That's his thing. Yeah.
still that's pretty cool.
So he can extend his sword like 8 miles. But
That's fucking ridiculous.
yeah, he does. So it's not that it doesn't actually extend; it's that it extends and retracts so fast that it looks like it's staying the same length.
But like here's why Soifan was my favorite character. That fight she had against that Espada who had that poison thing.
Oh yeah,
Remember how she was losing that fight pretty badly, and she figured out, hey, I can stab myself with my own poison and it will overwrite every other poison. Like, do you know how strong that is?
yeah. They put out a lot of stuff in Bleach. Well, I mean, you see the same thing in
Because
Naruto. Stuff that has
because
so much
think about what
potential
that
to be
means.
strong if you really think about it, but it never gets used again.
Yeah, think about what that means. That means Kurotsuki Mayuri is effectively useless against her.
Yeah.
Speaking of underdeveloped plot lines and power, Yoruichi develops a new form of energy by mixing the two powers together,
Oh
and it's
my God,
only
I
used
forgot
like
about
3 times.
I forgot about her crazy abilities that nobody else has. She is.
She's got all the magic items and all the superpowers, but she barely
Hey,
uses them ever.
and you want to know what they largely dropped the ball on? Do you remember the Hado? All the like
The 100
thousands of
Hados,
spells. Yeah, all the spells they have in Bleach.
they skip from
Yeah.
30 to 99.
Yeah, and I mean I get why they do it, but it's like Okay, there are some examples where there are really strong ones in Bleach, but they were awesome, and I just feel like they got underdeveloped in
Because I think the point
favorite
of it was
Zanpakuto.
like I think the point of it was that only a few of them could really focused on it. Because I have my
Yeah,
Bankai or my Shikai, why would I need them?
yeah, but I'm saying it would have been cool to see people creatively use it more and see more specialists with it.
I do like though that I one of my favorite hot was it Kido or Hado that there was like where he straight up he straight up just summons a giant freaking sword out of the ground.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and some of them had really long incantations for whatever
and
reason.
if you are good enough, you just ignore them and just say their name.
Yeah,
There's
I think the reason that went away was because it was to tell you how powerful the captains were, and then it was never really needed again.
yeah,
Which you think they would use them a lot against hollows.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I think the problem was the howls were getting so powerful that they were just no there was no point in trying to use them because it would weaken you. It would
I
weaken.
guess, but
It was
Urahara uses
essentially
one against Ozin at the end.
essentially. I think what the problem was like essentially if I use this against this Arankar, it probably won't work, and it takes down my ability, my power.
I just remembered something. Ichigo reverts to his old self, so he loses that sword hand thing, but Aizen's just bolted to a chair.
Yep.
He's still just as powerful as he was, but bolted to a chair.
Yeah, and here's
And
my thing.
assuming
And
his
Yeah,
sword is
and then
still
they
connected
have
to
to.
his hand.
Well, that's
here's
why
my
they got to
problem.
bust him out in that stupid last arc to help him or whatever, and
Yeah,
then he
here's my
fails.
problem. Like I don't know because I didn't watch the like the all the last arc. If you've got Aizen, who
Oh, they didn't
probably doesn't
animate the
want,
last arc yet, but
I meant Red.
like the
You know what I meant?
Fullbring, yeah,
Yeah, it's like my whole problem was if you have Aizen who is strapped to this chair and these Nazi Quincy's are about to kill every Soul Reaper, at what point do you go, yeah, it's probably we probably should,
They
they
did
use
bring
do,
him out to
they
fight the
do,
Quincy's.
they do, but I don't
They
think
did.
I think he failed
It
though, right?
it was
Because they made the final villain of Bleach so overpowered. It's literally God. First
it's
off,
really weird.
it's
His
literally
power
God.
is weird.
Yeah, they a lot of their powers are weird. Like the Quincy powers they introduced,
Are
some of
better
them
than the
that's
Soul
like
Reaper powers in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
significantly,
And they're all
significantly.
human.
Well,
That,
to be fair, they all came from one guy, so
yeah, that also is pretty
because
sketch.
wasn't his power like creation or something?
His power is to be God when he's awake. And when
Yeah.
he's asleep, someone else holds the power for him.
Antithesis was ridiculous. The power that Uryu gets.
He's. Do you mind if I say spoilers in here? Because I
I
don't
don't
think
care. I'm not going to watch the
he
end.
kills God, effectively,
Yeah.
and takes his place in the final arc. He literally just becomes God.
And I'm trying to find the description of antithesis.
They did finally clear up. I mean, it wasn't really a secret, but they explained that Ichigo's mom was a Quincy. But her
Yeah,
It's stupid. Listen,
I
all right,
figured.
read this. This is a power that Uryu gets in the last arc of the manga. You cannot counter it.
yeah, that it's yep.
It's not like you can resist it. You cannot counter that. There's a part where he
That's
fights a guy.
dumb.
He fights a guy and gets beat, and then uses it. And
So, like, is Ryo good or bad at the end?
He
he turns bad
pretends
and then back good. Yeah.
he
pulls like a
pretends because he joins the Quincy's because he knows that they're gonna do shit. But near the end, he shows his true colors is when Ichigo and everyone starts fighting.
Hmm.
But it is a long con. Like it doesn't happen till like the last 10 to 15 chapters.
There's one of the Quincy's as a kid where anything he imagines happens. And
Yeah, and I remember
it's insane.
he lost to Kenpachi because he imagined Kenpachi as so strong that he couldn't overcome it. and so he
Yeah,
literally killed
which is a
himself.
cool way to do it. When you think about how powerful that, like they had to give that power to a literal child, or
Yeah,
otherwise nobody could beat it. Because he just imagines that Kenpachi has cookies for bones and Kenpachi can't move. I'm like, first
That is the best balancing of that kind of power I've ever seen.
yeah,
you
yeah.
have to.
Because
There's no way.
because and like you said, because any other adult would be like, okay, I can still become. There's still someone stronger than him. I can become stronger than him. But the fact that he has this power and he's so young, and then freaking Kenpachi is just overcoming and just bashing everything he does. He literally pulls a Sephiroth and summons meteors, and he's like, "Nah, son, I'm gonna cut through all that shit."
It's time to take my eye patch
Here's what
off.
happened. Here's what happened. So let me tell you how scuffed this fight was. Okay, so you see that antithesis ability?
Hmm.
Okay, this is the guy he uses the antithesis ability on. Now, that's his ability. As you can imagine, the fight gets stupid because,
They're just trading back and forth.
yeah, I think if I remember correctly, what ends up happening is they keep going back and forth and they realize that it's a literal infinite battle. And then the guy fighting Uryu just gives up for moral reasons or whatever and basically just throws the fight so Uryu can go on.
I thought that was until he got the. I thought he got God power when the other guy went to sleep and killed him.
Something like that. I don't remember, but I thought
It's
the
been so
idea.
long.
I thought the idea
So
was like their powers are basically they cancel each
They
other.
were
So,
infinite until God fell asleep and gave him his powers.
yeah.
Because for some reason he can't hold those powers while he's asleep, and that's the only time anyone
neat.
should kill him.
So why didn't you kill him while he was asleep?
Because they had to fight everyone up to get him. Like literally, there's literally a panel where Ichigo is climbing the stairs and goes up to cut off his head, and then he wakes up and said, "What a nice dream that was." And then Ichigo shows up. It's like, motherfucker's literally dreaming about his own death.
I mean, at the same point, the stuff he's been through, I'm pretty sure he wanted to die.
If he
It
wanted
was
to
just
die, he wouldn't be God.
it's one of those things. I think it was one of those things where it's like I want to die, but I think it was kind of like he was kind of like Dracula from the Netflix series, where it's like
Oh, that
I
was a weird one.
essentially for me it felt like he was like I'm going to kill them all, but I really want to die because
You know how they
even
solve that God problem?
how
Uryu uses that once in a lifetime Quincy ability to negate another Quincy's powers, and Ichigo cuts him down. It's literally one
okay
panel, and that's the end of the chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why
Also,
rush to hell.
you-
I want that fight to actually matter.
Can you tell me what is the author's obsession with having Ichigo show up in awesome new outfits and then never wear them again?
I
dude
I'm
Ichigo
mad.
because Ichigo is a fashionista.
I'm mad that
Ichigo
Ichigo
can't wear
got
the
his
same things
true
twice.
powers and never got to use them because God said, "What sword?" And he snaps it in half.
He just shows up in one panel with that and his new
Dude,
swords and then
dude,
never wears it
show
again.
him his true
Dude, did you not
Bankai.
hear me? Did you not hear me?
No,
Ichigo is a fashionista. He can't wear the same things twice.
Kenji.
Oh, you're talking about his final form at the
His
very end.
Ichigo's true final form, where he learns the powers of a Quincy Hollow and Soul Reaper. It's
Okay,
I'm sorry.
find the colored one if you can, because it actually looks really cool.
I'm still a big fan of the reveal that the hollow Ichigo was actually his Zanpakuto because that was a
That was
badass.
awesome. You want to know who the other guy? Yeah, look at this bullshit. That's his
I'm down.
true Bankai.
I'm down with it. I'm down with the sickness.
The worst part is that sword gets cut in half the next panel.
Oh, that's dumb.
I know, right? We never get to see the powers that this form has. It's so cool looking, man.
He randomly got another great sword at one point too. He switches. I
It's
feel
his
like
white
this,
sword plus his black sword put
yeah,
together,
this
and I love
this
it.
is my favorite of his designs though. I don't think this is a direct panel, but this is what the outfit looks like. This is probably my favorite Ichigo design there was. Once he gets his
Uh,
powers back after the full bring and he has that like full bring brace on his chest. I'll try to find a picture of the
I
panel.
think this is actually after his sword gets reforged.
Yeah, it is. Because I remember he had to go to that special spring or whatever, right, to get his
No, he had to go to a special blacksmith that
Yeah,
that builds every Zanpakuto.
And yeah, I remember reading that part.
And he had to find out about his mom, and then all the Zanpakutos just kneel down. It's like,
he
the
gets like
one with
three
the
new forms
skull,
at the
you're
end.
mine. It was the weirdest freaking chapter.
I do like it's so interesting to me. I'm never gonna stop talking about the fact that the Hollow Ichigo was his Zanpakuto because everything that happened in every arc makes so much more sense now.
Hollow, others, old man Zangetsu was actually Yachua,
Yeah,
his
Yeah, I
and
Quincy
he's
hate that.
blood.
I hate that. I hate that so much. I resent that to the day
It
I
yeah.
die.
I don't.
explains why all the Quincy's love that guy's dick.
It explains it, but it has to be an asshole, dude. I feel like Ichigo to me, maybe I'm just the odd one out, but to me, Ichigo was a lot cooler before he randomly inherited every type of power that the
It was
author came up
fine
with
when
for
his
his
mom was
universe.
attacked by a hollow, and that's why he got hollow powers. She didn't need to
Yeah,
be a Quincy. There was no reason to add that.
yeah.
And
He's
that's the
quick.
reason why
He's got Soul
Ryu's dad
Reaper,
knows her.
Hollow, Quincy, Fullbring powers. I'm like, why?
I
Here's the
think the
thing about it
reason
though.
was to say, "Oh, I'm from both worlds,"
Yeah,
but you didn't need
essentially
to
what it
be.
is because essentially what
Yeah,
it is
bro,
is
I'm so tired
Ichigo.
of stories like that. I'm so tired of stories where they're like,
I
oh, I'm the inheritor of both worlds. Shut
Yeah,
up.
I think the only reason for me that it makes sense for Ichigo is because he was like I already assumed that his mother was a Quincy. It only made sense to me because like you find out his dad's a Soul Reaper. It's like oh, then his mother has to be a Quincy. Why else would he be literally sitting in the human world for no fucking reason?
Yeah,
Did they
see,
ever
that's
explain where Yachua hid all his descendants for 100 years?
I don't think they did.
Because
But my thing
His
is,
story was very confusing to me.
but because my thing with Ichigo is it makes sense to me because Ichigo literally was a culmination of everything. He was born Soul Reaper. He was born a Soul Reaper and a human, pretending to be a human, but he was also a human. Literally, he lived his life out as a human.
Yeah, but then turns out he's hollow because of an infection.
from Aizen's monster.
What?
Did you
Do you
not read
not
that?
know that?
Chapter they explain the backstory of when Ichigo's mom was attacked and lost her Quincy powers. The hollow that attacked her was the White Skull Hollow that Aizen made. It was experimenting with.
Yeah,
See, my whole
it was
thing
the
with that
same.
is
It was the
that
same
didn't
one that
need to be
infected all the
a thing.
Vizards because the
That didn't
Vizards
need to
were
be
all
a thing.
captains and lieutenants.
Yep.
I remember
Aizen's the
that.
I'm
one that
really glad they
infected
got
them
their
all.
ship
Yeah,
positions back.
the same experiment that Aizen came up with that infected them all. It came from he used that experiment. It's the same thing as that hollow monster that got out and attacked Ichigo's mom and
Hmm.
infected her. And so she already had the hollow powers whenever he was born, I guess.
Yeah, he had
Which
the
Okay.
he had
I
the
don't know. I mean,
potential
listen,
virus.
Which would
I
make
like parts
which
of later Bleach, but I still, to me,
It
I feel
explains
like
his inner hollow's
yeah,
strength a lot
yeah,
easier.
yeah, it explains why his hollow strength is literally just I'm almost dead and now I'm a hollow and I can
yeah,
come back from it.
and I mean, because before the implication, a lot of people I thought it was because you remember whenever his chain is being eaten away when he's getting
Yeah,
his powers back. I always thought
yeah,
it was that until they explained it. Like,
yeah. I mean,
Technically, the
here's the
first
thing.
instance is when his Zanpakuto's ribbon snaps.
Yeah,
I thought
here's
that
the
was supposed to
thing.
be the spiritual pressure, though, the
Yeah, of his
increase.
hollow kicking in.
Well, yeah, but we didn't know it was the
We
hollow at that
didn't
point.
know, but
Yeah,
it makes more sense.
yeah. Here's my thing. Either like it's fine to me that they explained it because that's also how the visors came about. But it would have been perfectly fine if it was just Ichigo literally came back from the brink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Here's my thing. I do like a lot of later
But
Bleach,
actually,
but
I
at the
know.
same time, early Bleach to me is still really cool. Whenever it was
Yeah.
Soul Reapers versus
Son of a
Quincy's,
bitch.
Oh yeah.
and then we had the introduction of the Vizards in Iran car. Because to
Here's
me, the Quincy's were always really cool. I really like the idea of the Quincy's
Kenshi,
until the last arc.
did the original first captain ever use his fire bankai?
yes. He used it against the god dude,
Who
and
are
then
you
he
talking about?
The firepower.
The
Wait,
old man?
the old
yeah,
man
yeah.
Yamato.
Yeah, he uses it before he dies in the last arc.
and
Is it
essentially
another one of
because
those one panel things where he just gets killed
no,
then?
Yeah,
no,
he
it,
uses it and loses his arm and then dies. I think.
yeah, what it was because he was using against a guy who was essentially, if I see your Zanpakuto, I can take it. Well, I can see your Zanpakuto, I can take it. Your Bankai, and he used it to try and kill him, but he didn't kill him, and he took it and used it against him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like it was a trash death, but
Yeah, it was definitely a
I
trash
mean,
death. He
how
should have
else
been
do
able
you
to remote
remove the
that guy.
most powerful person next to Ichigo?
yeah,
My my
And
thing is,
Aizen.
I will say though that that the Aizen explanation makes a little bit more sense as to why Ichigo Zanpakuto is a hollow. For the simple fact that even though Ichigo came from the brink, that doesn't explain why his Zanpakuto was a hollow.
And
yeah.
it looks like Ichigo, even back then, Ichigo was turned into a hollow more times than any other person seemed to in
Yeah,
history.
and but like so much of that makes sense that he was born that his
Yeah,
Zanpak that was his
I just
Zanpakuto. The
I feel
fact
like
that it was never trying to take over, it was only trying to, every time it came out, it was to literally say, no, you're not killing him.
I feel
And it
like
was
what
like,
happened with Bleach, because I agree
Is
with
that
you. I feel like what happened with Bleach is that he put in some explanations that explained the earlier parts of Bleach, and then wrapped it up and was like, "All right, I'm done. I've explained that. There we go." And he's like, "Never mind." Unwraps it, starts adding new stuff. Like, what's the? It's like he put all his ingredients
he
in for the
needed
cake. He stuck it in.
assistance and
He
he needed
stuck
a
it in the
good
oven.
publish editor.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's like
I
he
think
put all his
here's the
ingredients
problem
in,
that
right? He
happened.
mixed it up. He put it in the oven and then took it back out when it was half baked. Added new stuff and turned it terrible.
Here's the
That's what
problem.
happened.
I think what happened essentially happened was the same thing that kept happening to Toriyama, where it's like, hey, this is what I wanted to happen. It's like, no, this isn't gonna fly. This has to have more stuff.
Yeah, it's like I think that Bleach could have
I, f-
benefited a lot from having been slimmed down.
I, for, I forget.
I definitely think it could.
Did the mangeku, or whatever the heck that name is, does the artist and writer have any help?
Mangaka.
Yeah, the mangaka, whatever. Because I remember reading
Not
like a
really.
documentary
Not really. No, they
that was
mostly
with
do it
him,
alone.
and he
They
explained the timeline
Oh,
of
he
how much
worked
it took it him to
insane,
make one
dude.
chapter of
His life
Bleach.
was miserable whenever he was doing Bleach.
Yeah, like he needed two assistants just to help him with the line work, so he could sleep for 2 days.
Yeah, see, that's
yeah.
my problem. I wonder if that's why so many issues come out of manga, because like look at the process for writing a novel and then
Yeah.
compare it. But you know how
Essentially
important the editors
essentially
are.
I
Like the
think
editors are literally as important as the author,
yeah,
the
I
writers.
think it's I think the only reason that Naruto and Bleach really ended the way they did versus One Piece is because it became too much for them. It seems like
Yeah,
Oda is like still enjoys writing One Piece, which I think the difference is the between him and like the other two of the big three. I think they got burned out on it, whereas Oda still enjoys his story.
To be
He's
fair as well, One Piece was hit a lot harder with Japan for some reason. It got a lot more support than Naruto or Bleach ever did.
oh yeah,
So I would not be
I'll
surprised if he's
agree.
got at least 3 people working under him plus a good publisher.
Yeah, because what it because like, but you can tell by the way he like every like I won't say every ability makes sense in One Piece because it doesn't, but everything he comes up with seems to have a very good reason and a very good reason, a very good power, and it has a decent weakness that if you think about it, you go, yeah, that makes sense.
The only thing he's broken is he's changed the names of a few things.
Yeah,
Like the
because like
Emperor's Hockey is now the color of suppression or something.
because
yeah,
think about this. Remember when Neru was around and he was murking everybody. Then Luffy shows him. It's like he can't touch him, and it's like that makes sense. That makes 100% sense.
He
oh
has
yeah,
not broken the
and then
rules that he has set yet, and that is
Yeah,
yeah,
a tightrope he is
and
walking.
and speaking of these artists, you know, it being too much for them. What you see a lot of times because of that is they'll just have to drop. They'll just end up dropping characters. You know, wasting
Yeah.
their potential, like Neji.
Oh yeah, what happened to Neji was criminal.
Yeah,
Like,
but I. But
has
that being
anyone
said, I
here seen Black
respect.
Clover?
No, I have not watched it. I've looked into it and I
I've
can't
heard
do it.
I am watching it, and I'm heard that's getting close to the manga, which is amazing considering it's been nonstop for like 2.5 years. Apparently, the pacing in the anime is ruined.
Apparently, I've heard that's what I've heard too. I've heard people like
They split the
talk
first
about Black
chapter into
Clover.
6 episodes.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about Black Clover and they recommend Black Clover and they're like, it's a little slow, but once you get like 30 episodes in, I'm like, I'm not watching 30.
Read it, don't watch it, because
Yeah, I'm not
goddamn,
doing
the
that.
pacing's all over the place.
I'm tired of that. I am so tired. Like on one hand, I get that sometimes shows get better over
Hello?
time. Hello. I get that shows get
Did I
better
cut
over
out?
time and stuff.
You disconnected.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
did you
get
hear
that
what I
shows
said?
get better.
Nope.
No, what did you say?
I said, like I just went back to the whole Ichigo's hollow thing because like it makes so much sense during the fight with Byakuya,
Yeah.
where it's like, dude, if you let me do this, we can win. And it's essentially the reason Ichigo couldn't reach his full powers because he was literally fighting against his Zanpakuto the entire
He was
time.
literally getting crushed by his own spiritual pressure.
Yeah, his
Mhm.
Zanpakuto he was literally fighting his Zanpakuto every step of the way.
Can I just say, Hollow Ichigo's voice is one of the main reasons to watch dub versus sub.
Yeah.
Because the unhuman screeching sounds so much better than the random animal noises that the
I
the
kind of
sub
prefer
does.
the sub,
Yeah.
but the dub. I kind of prefer the sub noises because they sound cool, but it's more thematic for the dub.
Oh yeah, we need
For
the
sure.
sub animal noise. We need the sub hollow noises with the voice from the dub.
Yeah.
God, the
That'd
voice
be the
is so
perfect
creepy,
mix.
and I love it.
And plus, like, do you remember that scene when
Hey.
Ichigo had to fight Hollow Ichigo, and there was that when Ichigo left, the freaking old man looked dead at Zangetsu and was like, "Are you sure this is okay? Like, are you sure it's okay for him to bleed?" And it's now you realize, like, oh, he was asking him, "Is you sure it's okay for him to think I'm the weapon?"
Yeah. Hey, you remember whenever he fought Hollow Ichigo and Hollow Ichigo was spinning Zangetsu by the rap?
Yep.
And he started doing that shit. Yeah, that
Like,
was so bad. He's just
he went out of his way to antagonize Ichigo.
yeah.
Keep
He
an
went
eye
out
on that horse, because the minute you
exactly.
falter, I'm gonna buck, or whatever the line is.
Yeah, which is so messed up. Because he's like, "Why are you're disrespecting my Zanpakuto?" Just like, no, dude, I'm showing you how to use this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Which is
And he fought
honestly,
with it
I
too.
wish he did
If
swing
you
his
watch the
Zanpakuto like
animation.
that around.
Because when
Oh
he
yeah,
uses it like a buzzsaw in the fight against regular Ichigo.
exactly. And it's like I said, it's if this was Kubo's plan the whole time, it was the most well thought out thing I've ever seen in my life. Because everything that Hollow Ichigo did, when you said when you put in the thing that hey, no, Hollow Ichigo is the Zanpakuto, it puts everything in perspective. It puts why he couldn't use certain abilities. It puts because he was fighting against that Zanpakuto. It puts so much stuff in perspective that's like this could not have been this couldn't have been this could had to be planned. This couldn't have been I pulled Akira Toriyama. I pulled this out of my ass.
Remember the Bankai training where he grabs his old sword? It's like, this is the sword that represents your weakness on relying on me. He's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's such a
it's
good
like,
line.
and it makes more sense because you're relying on me instead of your actual Zanpakuto. Because you can like it's literally you can add that if you take that line and then
It's
apply
so
it as
much
like
more
no,
context now.
yeah, it's so much more context. This is your weakness in relying on me, which essentially means you're not relying on your Zanpakuto. You're relying on me to tell you how to use your Zanpakuto.
So effectively, he had a spine laid out on what he wanted to do. It's just the bones weren't set.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you look at like okay, we're talking about stuff like wasted potential or whatever. Um I wonder if some of the stuff at the end of Bleach, right, especially in the last arc, I wonder if it was near the end of Bleach's life cycle where it was so much that he kind of went off road from that spine that he had laid out.
I think he
Oh yeah,
might
he
have
had to
had to.
jump columns in
I
order to
think it
get the
essentially
end.
was like you're. They were like, hey, you're ending. It's like, okay, but I have this whole thing set up as to why this Quincy arc makes sense. But now I got to go straight to the Quincy arc.
He actually not even that. Like from the articles I read, in the middle of the Quincy arc, he was given a deadline that was 3 months out.
Oh, so in other words, there should have been
He had
way
to
more to that
sprint.
Quincy arc. Yeah, that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. So that because actually that makes sense because the Quincy arc did start off strong and then it just got weird.
Yeah, he had to sprint halfway through to get to the end, which I hope that he works with the animation studio to help flush out
Yeah,
those.
because here's
Because
my
you
thing.
Could you
can now.
imagine how
You
awesome
have
that would
time.
be? Could you imagine
Here's
how
my
awesome that would be though if it's like for the first time ever? It's don't read the manga, watch the anime.
yeah, because here's my
I mean,
thing.
that's like
They had that
the original Full Metal Alchemist
That's
animation.
true. That's
because
true.
if you remember, they had that whole side story with that one dude who was Soifan's vice captain, and he never. And it was supposed to be. It
Yeah,
was
there was
essentially
so much
supposed to be
wasted potential.
because he was like literally like, I've got to get stronger because what do I
Have
do
they
now? And then his sister was attacked and he didn't do anything. It's like that was literally supposed to be one of those things like this is definitely his moment.
have they said what studio is animating Bleach?
I actually I need to look that up. I don't. All
Because
I've heard
I
it's been
really hope they
announced.
do it justice.
Let me look that up.
Because here's one thing I've noticed with a lot of animation with anime is that I hope they don't do the thing a lot of anime does, where they'll put the first fight in the anime and they'll have godlike animation to
And
rope
then
you
they'll,
in, and then everything. Like Soul Eater is the worst example of that.
oh yeah,
Like okay, because in terms of the quality of the fights, that's another thing. But
I
like
don't want to
Maka
talk
versus
about
Jack
Soul
the
Leader.
Ripper is the best animated in terms of animation quality. It's the best animated fight in the series by far.
I'm sorry. Black Star versus what's this? The
It's not
swordsman dude.
animated as well. It's not
That's true.
animated as well. It's a better quality fight in terms of story and stuff, but it's like they
And
blew their
choreography.
animation budget on the first thing and then dropped the ball on the rest of it. And I hate it. I feel like Soul Eater dropped the ball on a lot of things, but
Here's my problem. I never understood about Soul Leader that I probably because I haven't actually read the manga. Like, how did Medusa come back evil?
Which one?
Medusa.
Uh, I forget who that is.
That was the main villain of the first arc.
yeah.
The snake chick.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
She was
wait,
the villain of the manga too when she came.
I'm sorry. I thought we were still talking about Bleach. I went to.
Oh no.
So you're
No.
talking about Soul
It's
Eater.
so-
Yeah, she
'Cause
used a
she got-
snake to curse a child.
But here's my thing about that. No, I know that part, but Maka literally hits her with Witch Hunter, which is supposed to destroy all evil and
Yeah,
all evil in
it
her.
killed the poisoned soul that was leeching on the child
Yeah, but here's my
and saved
problem.
the child.
Because at the end of that, after they killed like in the manga after they killed the Kishin or whatever his name is, it literally shows there's still a snake. My whole thing is if she's still alive,
Every
I don't
snake
ever
has a fragment of her soul, and she's got like 50 in the frog girl.
The real answer is because Soul Eater started BS and especially knew where the anime ends and the manga continues.
That's fair. Because it's like my whole thing is if she actually hits her with that, regardless of how, and purifies her soul, and she kills her, if she's still alive, she can't be evil.
Dude, Soul
By
Eater
the
had
rules of that
issues.
ability,
Soul
she
Eater
can't
had
be evil.
issues. I think the manga was so whack, and that's stuff like that is where you can see where they were heading toward that. The ending, the manga ending of Soul Eater was garbage, son.
Dude, the anime ending
The
of
anime
Charlotte Soul
ending
Eater
was
was garbage.
garbage.
Look here.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sorry. I don't care what you say. Maka, if freaking Black Star and Death the Kid couldn't beat somebody, Maka
What's
can't beat
hugging
them.
them will do?
Thank you. Black Star is stronger than Maka to fight. I don't care who you are. I
Hey,
don't care
hey,
what
Because
you
Black
say.
Star's
Black Star
because
would
Black Star's
fold
literal
Maka.
thing was he was even explained by Death himself. It's like, hey, if he says he's going to do something, no one can stop him.
Hey, as bad as the ending in the anime was, it was still better
Than the
than
manga.
no. It's still better than Soul Eater not.
Okay, yeah, but
All right, I gotta go.
What the hell?
Bubonic Plague is better than Soul Eater not.
I gotta go.
Oh yeah, your
Burn the
game.
Witch. What the
Yep.
hell's Burn the Witch?
Well,
Take it
good
easy.
luck with it, buddy. I
Yep.
better head out too.
See ya.
I thought
Greg
Handy
is.
was just sitting there.
I know
Just,
Handy's sitting there. He's soaking up the weebness.
Fucking, I don't know what you guys are talking about half the goddamn time. I'll be honest.
It's probably a good thing we're talking about all the things we hate for.
No, we love and hate them. That's why we were able to point out their flaws.
yeah, my thing is, as bad as
Just
the
tired
ending
of-
of Bleach was, Bleach is still worth watching.
Yeah, I
And
still
reading.
think Bleach
Especially
is
the first
good.
arc.
I mean, I don't. Even if the ending of Bleach is trash, I mean, that doesn't take away from, you know, Ichigo and Ulquiorra duking it out. But I better skedaddle as well.
What the hell is
Yeah.
Burn the Witch?
Night, guys.
Night. What was that?
I'm looking up news, and apparently there's. Oh, it's another. What
Yeah.
the? It's go. Okay, weird.
I'm trying to figure out. I want to know what studio's animating Bleach.
I'm actually looking at that up, and I'm having a hard time finding it. But apparently, look up who's animating Burn the Witch, which are set of bullshit. Oh my god! Apparently, Burn the Witch is a series of spin-off movies.
What?
What the hell? Wait. Oh, wait, hold on. Damn it. I finally found something. Studio Colorado.
Said who's doing it?
I think so. That's the name that's popped up. What have you worked on, Studio Colorado? No, or maybe they're just the people doing Burn the Witch. Yeah. Okay, no, they're just the ones. I don't even know any of these other names. They're just doing the Burn the Witch manga. Just
Is it
takes
gonna be
place in
Studio
the Bleach
Pierrot?
universe.
What?
What? There's witches now? So it's a spin-off. Oh, please tell me this isn't being. Oh my god, it's being written by Title Kubo. What? That's his name? Yeah. He's coming back to anime. Jeez, he must have gotten paid a shitload for that. Or is this the artist? No, they were the same person. Let me talk about. I think. So
I'm worried
that's
that Bleach is
confusing.
gonna come back and have some trash animation.
The only thing I can.
Wait, Burn the Witch is a one-shot manga by Kubo released in July 16th, 2018 edition of Shonen Jump, detailing a day in the lives of two witches working for the Western branch of Soul Society located in Reverse London. What?
All right, I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm just gonna look up Wikipedia.
I did that too, but I didn't find anything. So what the heck? I guess there are witches in Bleach now.
Apparently, I mean, there's precedent because Fullbringers could easily be mistaken for witches.
Okay, I wonder, is this studio supposed to be the ones doing the new?
The way it looked from the Twitter thing I saw, it looks like they're going to be released simultaneously.
So is it the same studio animating?
I don't know. It lists Burn the Witch, but it doesn't list Bleach, so I don't think so. But it's possible that might be because Burn the Witch is still coming out. while the other one is not because it got pushed to 21. Alright, so that was 2 days ago. Let's go for. Okay, well, I know Parrot is the one that did the original animation.
Mm-hmm.
Is it picking up the last season? It might be too early enough to like contracts down.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently Burn the Witch is getting an OVA.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it, but
It
it looked
takes
really
place
weird.
12 years after Bleach ends. And 2 years after the last chapter. So 10
Yeah,
years after the war, 2 years after the last chapter with his kids. What the fuck?
Okay, apparently there are dragons in Burn the Witch.
So, and Western branch of the Soul Society. So that implies that the Soul Society is only in Japan, and that's a Japanese branch, not all of the world.
I guess so. Apparently, I guess
That
this is
really
the Western
shortens
branch,
the
hence the
scope of everything,
dragons.
doesn't it?
Yeah, this is the trailer. So, like, does that mean there's gonna be like instead of them walking around in robes, are they gonna be like
They're
knights or something?
they're gonna be dressed
King
up as
Arthur?
Brits. They might have guns for all we know. I don't know. Different, same universe, different region of
That
mythology.
yeah, that does destroy the scope really bad. You're
Yeah.
telling me literally none of these people showed up.
Apparently, a bunch of announcements were supposed to be made at Anime Japan, but that got canceled along with pretty much everything. So we probably won't get anything till sometime in the fall, news wise. I'm hoping they get Parrot back because they did a good job. If they get
Yeah.
if Madhouse is, if anyone was going to pick it up, I want it to be Madhouse.
What did they animate?
Hellsing Ultimate.
Oh right. Oh, they should animate it like the best anime of all time, Tokyo Ghoul Re. So
I
beautifully
still
animated.
need to watch that.
It's
I enjoyed reading it. Re was interesting to read, but it dropped a weird points.
yeah. Apparently, it was very horribly animated.
I mean, how can it be worse than Tokyo Ghoul Turn A or whatever the hell you call that?
I couldn't get into Tokyo Ghoul, man. I watched the first two series.
The second one, it has nothing to do with anything. You can the one with the A
Yeah,
literally was an original story, has nothing to do with anything.
yeah.
Literally, even the ending doesn't matter because it changes so much that you can literally just watch the first season and watch Re. You'll miss out on a lot of stuff, but it's better than watching A.
It's just, I don't know. I was like, oh, this is a cool concept. This dude has to live with becoming a ghoul or whatever, and then he went sicko mode after getting tortured, and I just lost all interest right there. So
That's literally the last episode.
yeah, that's what
Oh,
I'm saying though. That's why whenever I looked at
oh, they also
A,
did Parasite the Maxim and the first season of One Punch Man, and all of Overlord.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I couldn't keep up with anything. Like I watched A or whatever it was called, Root. I don't know the different. I watched the second Tokyo Ghoul series. I don't remember what it's called.
It's called
Yeah.
Tokyo Ghoul A, and it's
It's so weird. It's like, and
it
that's why
goes
I don't
against-
care to look at Re because I'm like, I just wanted
Re
Tokyo Ghoul to be this dude trying to cope with becoming a ghoul, man.
The Re starts out going from the other side of the fence with the white coats perspective.
Yeah, it's
A completely ignores the entire second half of Tokyo Ghoul manga and literally does nothing. But it hits the big story beats that I want it to hit, but I don't care because why is he here if he's not doing this stuff? Because he joins that fucking organization, which goes against his entire character.
That's what it caught me off guard because I watched A.
That doesn't happen in the manga.
Yeah, I watched Route A or whatever it's said as, and I'm like, what is this? He's a completely different character. I get the whole torture thing, but like, why? What? It was jarring to me. I found it very bizarre. I watched all of it, but I couldn't really like it. The
that
only thing I
season was
liked
going to
was
be bad.
what's that dude Juzo? He was cool.
I knew
The guy that looks like
season was going to be bad because the first episode, one of my favorite lines from the manga, they took out, and it is,
what was it?
there's like 236 bones in the human body. Because you're Toka's brother, I'll only break half. And he just stomps half his body and breaks half his bones. Ooh. And they ignore that line completely. And he doesn't do anything close to that.
Yeah,
That's supposed to take
struck
that
me as
character
very
out of the
bizarre.
fight for months.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I just thought. I thought the way the protagonist developed was very odd. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy the post torture stuff.
It's the self-destructing type in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
Which, granted, he still is self-destructive, but it is more genuine in the manga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's why. Like it got to the point where I was like, okay, this is cool now, but I literally don't root for this guy now. I root for the other team.
Did you watch all of Re?
I didn't watch any of Re. I watched Tokyo Ghoul and then the Route A, and then because it was when they first came out, and then
Well, Re is whatever the hell his name is, because it's been so long, gets his ass kicked by the best investigator there is, and they take him to a hospital and they erase his memory, and he leads a squad of humans that have been given ghoul transplants but are still human, so they can still eat human food.
That sounds very powerful.
It really is. And the problem is, it stops becoming that and becomes, inter-countrywide conspiracy bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good news is, my ship is canon, and I don't care. Freaking Toka and Kaneki, there is literally a chapter where they just have sex.
Isn't she his housewife?
No, she's the girl with the one wing.
Yeah, I know, but isn't she his housewife now?
She's his wife.
Yeah,
and
but
she
isn't she
still
just
kicks
a
his
housewife?
ass.
I just remember seeing a bunch of scenes of her just being a housewife, and I wasn't sure if she was still a character or not.
Well, she runs a cafe for the first half of Re, because she's in hiding.
Okay.
She reopens the cafe that gets blown up.
Yeah. or maybe Route 8 was just weird because I don't know.
Yeah, Route
I
A
mean,
is a
I'm not gonna.
completely original story. It's
Yeah,
still by the
I'm not.
author, but it doesn't make sense to.
Yeah,
There's
I
no
mean,
reason to watch it and go into Re because Re ignores it. Because that guy that gets killed at the orange haired kid, he's alive. That he
okay, I
doesn't
see.
die in the second half of Tokyo Ghoul.
Yeah, they did that very oddly then because
Yeah.
I don't know because the way I that perceived it, I'm not gonna. If people like Tokyo Ghoul, that's fine. But to me, I was like, this is cool, and I started to go as it went on, and then I feel like at the end it went pants
They
on head
also
retarded.
screwed up. They also screwed up the pacing in the first season, like
Yeah,
the stuff with her with that girl's mom, with that one ghoul that comes live with them. I forget her name. That gets hunted down by the investigators. That happens before the gourmet stuff.
yeah, it's
When the anime it does it in reverse, which doesn't mean a lot, but it doesn't make sense why he doesn't use abilities in one and he does in the other.
yeah, it just it
Pacing.
went. Yeah, I feel like it went pants on head retarded to me at the end. I couldn't. If I understand,
Oh,
it can be
there's
some
actually
of it can be explained. That's fine, but it's not my cup of tea, man.
there's
It
one
seemed like a bait and switch when I watched Tokyo Ghoul, if that makes sense, with the whole the development
I
post
can
torture.
understand that.
Yeah.
You know when he's getting tortured by Jason?
Uh huh.
You know the people that clean him up to prepare him for the next round of torture?
Yeah.
They changed that in the anime. In the anime, it's a boyfriend and girlfriend. You want to know who it is in the manga?
Hmm.
It's a mother and her child. He has to make that same choice with them. It's so much worse for
Yeah.
some reason. Oh god. I shouldn't keep you up anymore.
I mean, I'm not going to bed. I go to bed in the morning anyway, but I was just gonna grab something to drink. But yeah, it's just it felt like a bait and switch to me, so that's why I couldn't get into the next part. But I'm sure if I went into it knowing that it was going to develop strangely, it would have been different. But it felt like I skipped half a season. Like I remember whenever I first watched it, I had to make sure that I didn't actually watch stuff out of order because of how sudden a lot of the transformation was. And then especially watching Route 8 after that, which I now know is its own thing. I thought that was just how the manga went, and I was like, "This is
No,
terrible."
that's the biggest trap the anime does. Have you ever seen I don't think I've talked about I think I've talked about this before. Rosario plus Vampire.
I've never watched it, but I've heard about it for a long time.
It
Yeah.
does such a disservice to the manga. It's amazing. The plot is all over the place. So the story is this kid goes to this monster school, meets a vampire chick who keeps drinking his blood. And at some
Mm-hmm.
point, there's a student council fight that finds out he's a human. And she gives him blood, which makes him super powerful vampire mode. And they play with that in the manga beyond that scene, but outside that one fight, they never touch it again in the manga, in the anime.
Nice.
Like, so it had the bones to be a decently sized series, but they focused on the fan service.
Yeah, that's the downfall of a lot.
The second season has half of it has nothing to do with the manga at all, and it shows.
I'm hoping My Hero doesn't go down that route because
My Hero has a much better staff capable of pacing and studio
Yeah,
that
I
knows what
just
they're
mean,
doing.
like, I hope the writer doesn't cave because the amount of people that watch My Hero just to argue over shipping is
Well, I'm actually really glad that My
staggering.
Hero takes seasons off.
Yeah,
A lot of my anime could benefit from that, but they don't.
yeah.
I think My Hero is the only long-running anime that takes breaks during seasons. Everything else is every single week. One Piece, Detective Conan, Boruto, Black
Dude, Detective
Clover.
Conan has a crazy amount of episodes.
It's not as much as One Piece still.
Yeah.